Welcome, pseudo-dragons and pit fiends, to episode 37 of Dion Rising. Hey, what's up, y'all? This right here is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play campaign brought to you by the Knights of D20. All those fools. Hi, cuties. As usual, before we begin charming sailors and repairing family ties, we have a few announcements brought to you by my friend who speaks no less than 6 different imaginary fantasy languages. Bobby, can you give us the announcements in the common tongue, please?
Of course. So everyone can understand what I'm saying, I will try to keep it common for you. This week for tea time, it will be myself and Royal. I know I said that last week, but then I failed my constitution check and I couldn't sit in one spot drinking tea with a friend and just talking. So unfortunately, I didn't do it. But this week, I will. We will be there, so you should be there as well. Next week, though, we are not going to be here in our usual live format. We will be having part 2 of Melanie's Crankin' It one-shot, or two-shot, I guess we should call it. Please go see it. It was a delight to play in, and one of the most difficult puzzles I think I've ever done in D&D in my life, which is saying something. So yeah, come back on Monday, same time, but we're going to be pre-recorded. Check out what Melanie has for us. And that's going to be it for me. Back to our dungeon mother.
Thank you, Bobby. And thank you all again for joining us as we embark on an epic adventure in the world of Dion, where heroes rise, dangers abound, and legends are born. Players, get those dice ready. Okay. Everybody do a practice roll and then throw away any that have a nat 20, please. Get those off the table now. Okay, in episode 36, our adventurers mourned their friend Zareth, who fell at the hands of the mysterious doppelganger Orvez after they revealed her to be impersonating Arendril's Admiral Counselor Maynote. In gratitude, the Triumvirate's Council of Three awarded the party with the promise of a newly constructed ship, which the party may return to claim after a few months, or bring their friend Varmox the Severed III to sail it their way to pick them up. The group find themselves ready to finally move on from Seraphina's home city and perhaps the Middle Continent altogether. But I leave that up to my players. As we round out this sort of arc of our storyline in Nurdistand, Seraphina's home city, you've managed to save the city from assured destruction in your time here. Not quite capturing that pesky little doppelganger, but is there anything you all need to wrap up in Nurdistand before you move back into the sort of thread that your adventure has taken you on, trying to track down this Emperor Orin and some of these items that seem to be very powerful? I believe last we left off, you were heading back to the minaret for the night. Nothing?
So what times are it now? I guess is my first question.
Probably like a early evening.
Okay. Can Killian go find that? I forget what race the person was, but it was the one that he was traumatized by all the invisible birds.
Was it a gnome?
Was it a gnome?
It was a gnome.
Yes, I think so. Let me dig back in my notes. I forgot about the invisible birds.
I didn't.
Killian never did.
Yes, it was invisible
Never
pigeons. I'm trying to remember who that was. I think it was a gnome, and that was in the minaret. So yeah, you had your way back toward that sort of like little laboratory that you found them in, where you ended up trying to help them capture all of these birds that they had transported in. And the gnome is sitting there, this time working on this little like sort of clockwork device. It seems to be spinning with a little bit of arcane power as it like emits little like sparks and shots of little like tiny lightning bolts, and the gnome's hair, the halfling's hair, thank you, is just like buzzing off in a million directions as he keeps electrocuting himself. He doesn't really look up as you approach.
Killian will very cautiously approach, give it a wide berth so I can catch him in the peripheries, so he can see me before I get, I don't know, hit by something that this thing is concocting.
You kind of like move into their field of vision. They're wearing these like goggles over goggles over goggles over goggles. They get progressively smaller, and just stick out like a foot from his face. And as you move into its field of vision, he looks up and these big cross eyes look at you from the end of these goggles, and he says, "Ah, yes, good. Come help me. I need support. Come give me a hand." And goes back to tinkering with this object.
Okay, but I'm going to need your help with something as well.
Good. Yes, good. But first, put one finger here and put the lace of your boot here and hold on.
Okay, let me get my laces off, I guess.
No. You have to be wearing the boot, otherwise it will not work.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I sense a saving throw on its way.
And the halfling like does the same, only his boot is off. And he puts it up on the table, puts a lace on one part, sort of like a mirror side of what you're doing, puts a finger on the other, and then with its free hand snaps. And go ahead and roll just a dex saving throw.
Oh. Alright, 22.
22, excellent. Okay, this thing starts whirring super quick, like it speeds up, even faster than it was going before, and it stops sparking, but at this point you have to, like, pull your foot and your finger away as fast as you can as your bootlace starts to get wrapped up in the clockwork, as does his, but that seems to be a part of the invention, and so as soon as you pull your bootlace away and manage to, like, free your leg from this device, the whole thing just, like, crumbles in a pile of different cogs and wheels and little pieces of wood and metal. And he goes, and starts cursing in halfling tongue, and eventually he calms down and just like scoops everything into the trash bin under the table and says, "Well, that was worth a shot. What do you need?"
Wait, what was that thing going to do?
"Well, it isn't doing what it was gonna do, so apparently nothing. Don't worry about it."
Oh, okay. Do you happen to have any expertise in dealing with alchemy of any kind?
Alchemy, sure, yes. Actually, the last time we've met before, yes, you were here during the birds fiasco. Well, I had accidentally opened them into this world, specifically hoping to study their particular feather oil that allows them their sort of clear qualities. I have a bit of expertise. Why?
Okay. Well, on my journeys, I've collected a few, let's say, items from various creatures that I've slain, and I was wondering if maybe you had an idea of how I could maybe put them to some kind of use, maybe brew some kind of oils to, maybe coat my weapon, or maybe even some kind of potion that might grant me some kind of, some strength or something.
Well, it depends on what you have and what properties I can pull from it. Let me see what you've got. And do you offer him some of your materials?
Yeah. So, Killian will pull out. So he has the eye from the basilisk, way long ago. He's got like one of the devil. I don't know what kind of devil it was, but it had like a barbed tail. And I think Killian took that piece. He's got the slime from the flail snails way back in the beginning. And he also has, he still has a vial of the spike fiend blood. This is some of the things I've collected, and I'm certain there's going to be more in the future, but I was wondering if we could concoct something with these items here.
Well, nah, he starts going over what you've got, and he pulls out a little reference book, and he's flipping through these. It's sort of like you see, it's sort of like a bestiary. He cross-references some things as he sort of looks at the blood in the vial and picks up the barbed devil tail, and like he's like, "Can I?" And before you answer, he like cracks it.
I guess
Don't
so.
worry, this is how we're gonna get the good stuff. And sure enough, there's like a small like vein that had run through it. That seems to have like coagulated some substance in there that he starts like using a little tiny scoop to scoop out into a little bowl. And he says, "Well, basilisk eye, that could be useful for some sort of tincture of petrification. It would need to be a visually mandated or a visually administered substance, something like a tear gas or a visual cloud of some sort that we could make out of this." And moves on to the barbed devil tail and the coagulated junk that he's been scooping out of the spine. This is useful for, well, frankly, just not being good for mortals to consume. So this would make a good ingested poison and or an oil to put on your blade as a bit of temporary poison damage if you manage to land a hit on a mortal creature. Moves on to the flail snail slime, and he says, "Well, this is a dime a dozen, worth anything." Hands it right back. He's like, "I think you could do something with these two objects," and gestures to the spine, tail substance, and the eye of the basilisk.
Okay. Well, I like the idea of the like that tear gas product. I think that could come in quite handy. And you said that this this tail could maybe be used to apply poison to like a on my weapon or something like that.
Yes, I think easily. It would be it's not quite enough here, and since it's so coagulated, I'll have to very much refine it into a sort of viscous oil, and it'll likely only last you for a hit or two, but it's something.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Would it be okay if I stayed and watched your process during all this? I have I guess you can call me a amateur alchemist in certain ways.
Certainly, but you don't get to hang out in my lab without contributing to some sort of support. So get in here and help me, and go ahead and just roll a general intelligence check to make sure that this very not careful halfling scientist does not cause you bodily harm in the midst of these projects.
All right. So just intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be 9.
Okay. Roll a d20 for me. Just tell me what you get flat.
12.
12. Okay. So an odd number would have been a mishap with the basilisk eye gas, which is good. An even number is a mishap with the poison. You do accidentally, like, he is like distilling this coagulated substance he took out of the barbed tail. He's like mixing it in different oils and things, trying to get it a little bit more viscous, a little bit more runny, and able to be like suspended in a liquid. And as he's doing so, you are reaching for something with the basilisk eye, a little like decanter. He's reaching the opposite direction for another bottle of oil, and you like just like collide into each other at the table, and his little oil that he's been working on just splashes in your face, and you end up with just a pretty gnarly rash near your scar from it. But he immediately starts like scraping it back into the bottle so he doesn't lose any of what on.
Is my face supposed to go numb?
That's a good sign. That's good. That means it's working.
Okay.
It'll wear off in 1 to 82 hours, I think.
82 hours? That's a long time.
Between 1 and 82 hours.
Oh, okay. And Killian wants to like try healing hands on his face, see if it makes a difference. If it's
it does.
poison, I'll use like 5 points just to get rid of any poison on my face.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Whew, okay. Feeling a little bit better after that one. Maybe we watch ourselves in the laboratory here, okay?
Well, you know what they say. No experiment ever worked without a few broken faces. Writes that down. That's going in my memoir.
Oh, is that an original line there?
Yes, don't quote me.
All right, fair enough.
All right. So after all of that, you can add that you have a basilisk tear gas to your inventory. I will go ahead and make a little item for that for you,
Mhm.
as well as a a barbed devil blade oil.
All right. Yeah, so I'll spend however long it takes with this person. And I never got your name. We've done so many experiments together. What's your You never really introduced yourself. You just got to drag me into all of your stuff.
Oh, how rude of me. My name is Yanshi Cornwallis. See a big ol' handshake.
All right, Mr. Cornwallis. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It has been an okay time meeting you. You are no scientist.
I
This
never
is you from
claimed
the
to be.
Next time I need some invisible birds caught, though, I know who to ask.
Oh, I will be far away at that point.
Okay. Yeah, anybody else have anything they need to wrap up for the night? I don't know if you plan on heading out in the morning, or what's the general plan? Do you all need to get together and make a plan?
I think Ados would have made it clear that he's just going to hang out until they go visit Mellow Oak. He has nothing to do except for enjoy his wine.
I think Seraphina, before she ends for the night, she might rummage through the minaret to see if there are any useful items she can take with her, like useful magical items, just like hidden around.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for me a D100.
I'm trying to find another character sheet.
You can
On
also
the
do a
character sheet,
D10.
It'll be the
That's easier.
two that are the two D10s next to each other.
1 second. Okay, I see it. 87.
Okay. The minaret is a treasure trove of items. So depending on how long you're gonna give this, I'll give you just 3 items up front that you're able to find. You are going to find what's called a drift globe in just an old supply closet. You also find a scroll of protection. It's in your mom's office. You're just gonna straight up take it unless you're gonna ask her for it.
No, I'm
It
just
doesn't seem
gonna
to be
swipe
like it
it.
seems to be in a pile of scrolls that like she just sort of has laying around.
Yeah, Seraphina feels very entitled in her own home. She'll just be like, this is mine.
It's just taking my inheritance early. You find in a cleaning closet, you find some universal solvent.
Would Seraphina know what these items are or how to use them?
I think the universal solvent is well labeled and has instructions on it.
Okay.
So you would know that it is used to clean and or de-stickify a lot of different items.
Ooh.
The drift globe is maybe not as familiar to you.
Okay.
Go ahead and just roll an Arcana check for me. What you're seeing is like, what is it?
16?
16. Okay, so this is like a 1 pound, like small ball of glass. You would know that they each have a command word, and that once you use that word, it will use like essentially like a daylight spell. And you can turn it off with the command word as well. It's just like a universal sort of
Ooh.
light source.
Nice.
It'll also float with the command word and do a couple other sort of useful tasks.
Okay.
And then your scroll of protection. It creates for you sort of just a protective barrier for a specific kind of creature. This one is for beasts specifically.
Okay.
Just gives you like a protective sort of circle barrier that's 10 feet high with like a 5-foot radius.
Okay.
I think that's everything. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so she just collects all of them and saunters back to her room.
Loot in your own home. I love it. Very Seraphina. How much could it cost? Like $10? Okay. As you're walking back to your room, you know as you're coming out of your mom's office, your mom is heading home for the night. Finally, it's been a very long day for both your parents. You know, your dad hasn't quite made it home yet that you've seen, and your mom spots you in the hallway, walking with an armful of items.
Yeah, I'm just
She
holding.
clocks-
Yeah.
She clocks everything and just like brushes it off. It's fine. She's not worried at this point. not worried or surprised.
Yeah, Seraphina doesn't try to hide it.
This is Seraphina, darling. Do you plan on staying a few more days at least, or are you all on your way out?
I think we're on our way out tomorrow morning.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised. It seems you have quite a mission that you need to undertake. Though I do wish you would actually tell us what comes next after everything that's happened here. But I respect you are grown and adults in the eyes of the law, and as of now, of your father and I. So I do hope that you will write us or contact us if you fall into any more trouble that you can't seem to work your way out of.
I definitely will. I'll write to you often.
I expect no less, darling. And if you make it east, make sure to stop and say hello to your sister at some point.
Of course, yes.
And make sure that you say goodbye to Cedric and your father in the morning before you go. And let me know if you need me to procure you anything to take with you.
I might take you up on that offer.
Well, please do. I'll be in my office until about 10 tomorrow before my first meeting.
Okay, perfect.
Right,
Thank
I need to
you.
get some sleep. Good night, darling. I love you.
Good
See you on the
night.
Jeep. She seems to be very much back to her more stoic self after a emotional couple days. And does everybody head off to bed at, a reasonable hour? Or does anybody get into shenanigans?
Big day tomorrow.
Killian, I feel like as you're falling asleep, you can hear wings in the rafters. The rustling of feathers.
They're back. Miss Cornwallis has let them loose again.
Or you didn't catch them all the first time. They are now an invasive species. Okay. The night draws closed, with this gang all falling asleep in a soft bed, maybe for the last time in a while, not knowing what's coming next. And all too soon, morning dawns. Are there any last-minute preparations before you all head back to talk to Mellow Oak?
Anybody need supplies or anything?
I'm
I
broke.
think. Are we kind of like all together in the morning right now?
Yeah, we'll say you're all meeting in the tea room for breakfast.
Okay. Seraphina will just lean in and be like, "Does anybody need anything? I think my parents can help get it for us before we head out."
Like for free? Ooh. Do we have like a menu to choose from?
Ooh. I love how the tables turned here. Kara messages all of us, "Hey, send me a list of things you might want," and then we get live on stream and we're like, "Hey, Kara, give us a list of things we can get."
Sounds about right.
That's Dungeons and Dragons, baby.
Well, I didn't have any money, so I was like, I'm not gonna ask for anything. I don't have any cash.
I don't need anything really.
Yeah, I thought, Seraphina doesn't even know what she would need on a crazy adventure.
All right.
Well, Well, maybe we should take stock of what we might need overseas. Now, Zada, maybe you can describe your homeland to us a little bit. I know you say it's kind of a savanna of sorts.
Yeah.
So I assume food and water will be hard to come by.
Yeah, I have a spell to create water, so that's not going to be a problem. Food can be, I can hunt, but if you want to bring your own supplies, that's good. Stuff that would keep the sun off of you would be helpful. Some kind of wrap for your face and stuff. That's good. There is also desert, so also good for when there's sandstorms and stuff like that. But from where we're going, we're also going to be going to the jungle area. I've explored a little bit of that. Lots of insects, so expect to be really sticky and really a lot of bugs, a lot of sweat. It's very humid.
Okay, so sounds like we have water accounted for at the very least.
In the rainforest, yeah, and then I can create water.
I can make us good berries.
Yeah.
They're really yummy for your tummy.
But will we get sick of them? And because I don't know if Bula can survive on just good berries.
Good berries. I could, like I said, I could try to hunt, but that could be like a backup plan. Is just good berries. But
Yeah, I feel as though Bula is going to need to stock up on, lamb legs and pork chops and things like that.
yeah, I can show her the kind of delicacies we have there. Nothing really in the same vein. I mean, there's stuff that kind of tastes like lamb or pork. It's not really. Yeah.
Marway is completely intending, now that they've said this, to go shopping with Bula. Mainly because he wants to stop by where, is his name Vermax?
Varmox?
The
Severed the Third?
Varmox. Yes, I want to make sure that Bula gets a chance to say goodbye to him, so Marway can kind of take notes on the encounter of them saying goodbye to each other.
Okay, I'm gonna roll for Robin for Bula's sake. You roll for Marway. Are you trying? Just knowing Bula and what's happened the last few episodes, I think she would not go there and say goodbye to him willingly. So I want you to try and roll to deceive her or to persuade her.
Oh, it's gonna be persuasion. I'm not a very good liar.
I love how we do this when she's not here.
Okay. Where is my... Okay. It's gonna be a lovely 22.
Incredible, because she rolled an 18. So you got lucky.
The orange pendant of advantage on charisma checks.
I think after everything that has occurred recently, you are able to persuade Bula just through the sheer force of her sustained guilt and sadness and anger over everything that happened to Marway over the last few days, and so she's just willing to do whatever you want her to do at this point for a minute.
Yeah,
entertain
I would probably
and make you smile.
frame it as let's go get a drink, because I know she's always ready for a drink, and I just happen to know that he's gonna be there.
Perfect.
Right as we're about to leave.
I think you guys walk in, and he is taking up half of the biggest, roundest booth, like a booth for 10. He takes up a whole half of it, basically. And he's sitting there with, as usual, a big old keg that you can see the bar hands have now drilled a handle into, so that it's a big old wooden mug for him to use. He's sitting there with that, and he's got a finished plate of some sort of gristly, meaty food that you can see the bits of fat and bones still are sitting on after he's done eating. Doesn't take him long for his head to whip around as soon as Bula walks in, and people react when Bula's in a room. They react differently when he's in a room. So it's all the air, all the space is taken up by these two bigger than life people. And it's tense. It's I feel like Marway has trouble differentiating at this moment. Is this love? Is this hate? Do they loathe each other? Are they obsessed with each other? It's just angry eyes at each other until someone breaks the ice from across the room.
I think Marway is just gonna grab her hand and run up to him. Just very, hello! We're about to be leaving, and since we did time together in the clink, I thought I would come and say goodbye to you.
Always good to see my fellow cellmates, and he pours you a little tiny glass of his beer and hands it off to you and pours a bigger one for Bula and slides it across the table to her with like a little smirk.
Marway's gonna take it and pour it into his de-alcoholing chalice,
Yes.
and then start drinking it. Yeah, and I think it's just gonna be a very quick, well, we're about to be off, and I know you're going to be driving our boat all the way to us at some point, so we'll get to see you again, but until then, just know that we'll be thinking about you. And then it's cut really harshly to Bula when he says thinking about him.
He says, yeah, I'd be pretty forlorn if anybody of your gang forgot about me. But I'll be back. You won't be able to forget for too long. Gives Bula another, like, super cocky, big, toothy dragon smile.
Journal out immediately, like not even hiding it. And then just like closes it really quick. All right, well, we've got to go. Bye. And then I'm just gonna drag Bula back out.
Happy travels! I'll see you soon! Cheers.
And like I imagine Bula just the whole time was just like, flushed and awkward the way that Bula is around him.
Yeah. I feel like at one point she tries to say something and just like stutters and decides against it and takes a big old drink. Okay. You leave him to his devices. Killian, where are you during this morning exchange?
Well, I assume I'm with everyone, just kind of conversing and things like that. But when Serafina brought up we got a free magical shopping spree, that definitely piqued his attention. As Killian kind of looks at his equipment that he has, he notices his shield has been through the ringer, more or less. And so he'll look over to Serafina and say, Serafina, would your parents happen to have any kind of like magical armor or like something to replace this, broken down shield? It's kind of seen better days.
Let me think about that. So would Serafina know if there's like a armory at the minaret?
Not necessarily in the minaret. You guys are very much not like weapons makers, but your mom, being a businesswoman, has lots of contacts who are armorers and metalworkers and blacksmiths. So you could quite easily just send out one of your servants to one of her businesses to procure something in her name very quickly.
Okay. So I'll find someone and be like, excuse me, can you help us get this polished up?
Yeah, I'll run this over to Grumwald's and see what he can do. You just need a polish, and you wanted me to sharpen the edges, make it a little bit more lethal.
Serafina will turn to Killian.
mean,
She doesn't know.
I never thought about stabbing anyone with his shield, but now that you bring it up, that's a fantastic idea.
Well, it's already got sort of a decorative point, so you might as well just...
That's true. Yeah, let's sharpen that up and see if we can get some of these dings and dents out of it, if possible.
All right, I'll be back on an hour. That shouldn't take long. Nah.
Thank you, you're a gem.
You're welcome, my lady Serafina. You definitely don't know this guy's name.
Oh, you.
You. Okay. Killian, as you sort of finish that exchange, you note out the corner of your eye Kittenberry is sort of like arms folded behind her, politely, sort of like waiting for you to finish that conversation.
Oh, Kittenberry, hey, how's it going? Feels like I haven't spoken to you in a couple of days.
Bonjour, Killian. Yes, it has been a eventful few days, but I wanted to make sure I caught you before you all head out east. Privately, perhaps.
Certainly. excuse me, everyone. Yeah, let's go over here.
And she sort of leads you off, like, into maybe Seraphina's, like, dressing thing, a sort of side room, a little bit quieter. And she says, well, I do feel, as I said, quite guilty for abandoning my friends at such an important juncture in our lives, but you have all saved my life in so many ways and so many times over. I just wanted to make sure that send along everything that you might need for your trip. And she rummages in her bag for a second, and she pulls out a little wooden box, a little brass latch, and she opens it up and she says, so I have these 20 wooden metal balls, and closes it and hands it to you. And then she says, and this is my miniature cannon, and says, I hope that you will use this and find it useful in your journey. And it's a pistol.
Kinberry, you sure you can go without this? This gotten you out of many sticky situations.
Well, I don't, no offense, Mr. Killian. I do not suspect I will be in very many more sticky situations once I am not following you all in the literal mouth of hell all the time.
Yeah, we kind of do step in it a little bit too often for my liking, but so it sounds as though you've kind of come to a decision as to what your future holds.
Yes, I would like to accompany you all to speak with Professor Mellow Oak, and I have been speaking to Seraphina's father about enrolling at Luminara, and he says they would be happy to have me. So I intend to stay here, and I actually perhaps have a job lined up with Varmox at Rora's shipcraft to see if I can earn some coin.
Hittenberry, that's amazing. Making a name for yourself after being in your parents' shadow for so long. I'm very proud of the journey that you've taken and where you are today.
Thank you. I don't think I've thought of it that way, but yes, this does feel like I'm finding myself finally, and I have all of you to thank for that, and I intend to tell everybody else the same. But I just wanted to be sure that that particular weapon was in wise and careful hands, one might say.
Well, I thank you for trusting it to me. But if you could just do me one favor, and he'll just kind of hand the pistol back to her, and he'll say, I would love it if you would just maybe initial and engrave the handle of it for me. Just with your initial, so I'll always remember you if and when I see you again, of course. He just kind of gets a little bit flustered. Yeah. So if you could just sign that for me, I'd appreciate it.
I would be so happy to. Give me an hour or two, and I will engrave the woodwork on the handle. She rebags it and starts like coming up with ideas, and she says, besides all that, I did want to gather your group since I am working at Rora's. I have been given permission to oversee modifications to your ship, of the arcane variety, perhaps, since I will be at Luminara, and I will be able to work with the top researchers and developers to perhaps give it a bit more oomph in battle.
Amazing.
So I would like to get everybody's opinion on what they might like to see it be able to accomplish.
I'm sure everyone's going to have quite a wide variety of ideas. Hopefully it's something that you guys will be able to pull off.
Yes, well, it starts with an idea, right? And it ends with a grand show, as my parents say. And so she leads you back out to the team room where everybody's still sitting, and she says, "Gather around, friends, gather around." She waits very patiently. I feel like everybody's already quiet and looking at her, and she's still waiting. Oh, yes, okay, I shall begin. So, yes, I have just told Mr. Killian I do intend to stay here in Nurdistand for a while at least. I will be studying at Luminara and perfecting my arcane arts. And I would like very much to work for Aurora's vesselcraft, perhaps adding some arcane modifications to your future ship as it is constructed. So I just wanted to do a quick brainstorming activity with you all to see what sort of ideas you might have for what we could do. Keeping in mind I will also use my artistic integrity
We maybe put in a day spa?
A day spa, writes down day spa, big letters. That is a brilliant idea, of course, yes. For those long ocean nights, day spa. Anything else? Thinking like a sauna, a pedicure bath, that sort of thing.
Perfect. Yeah. Maybe a hot tub.
Ooh, a wet bar.
A swim up bar, a pool on the boat in the water with a swim up bar. Yes, good. I like it.
And another out of the water. I swim all the time to get my drinks.
Of course.
Well, maybe let's think of some other more practical things, folks. We've been on the open seas before and come across some, rather dangerous things out there. The Kraken comes to mind. So, if there is a way to maybe magically reinforce the hull so it can withstand a lot of blunt force damage, I'm sure that would be greatly appreciated. We do want to stay floating on this thing and not sink.
We could use something that would increase our speed or make us go longer in times where the boat can't move. Like, I don't know, like a manipulation of water or air for our sails of some sort.
Some sort of locomotion device. Interesting. Okay.
Perhaps increased firepower. Maybe something more interesting than simple cannonballs. Because we do come across another Kraken.
Just arcane turrets.
There we go.
Well, and that would help with the speed problem as well if we don't have to lug around cannonballs on the ship.
So a more lightweight, but something that packs a punch sort of weapon system. Okay, I like that. Zata, I was thinking for your comfort, some sort of gyroscopic cabin space that will maintain balance and not feel so kind of. Yes?
I mean, sure. That sounds nice. I don't really, the boat's great and all, but I wasn't expecting to spend a lot of time on it.
Okay.
Well, speaking of spending a lot of time on it, we might need something that preserves or stores food, for long periods of time, just in case we are on sea for a long voyage.
Just get a cleric that can cast. Just the cook just needs to be a cleric that can cast create food. That's all we need.
Listen, I've had clerics create food for me. They are bland tasting. We're gonna need stuff with some flavor to it.
Yes, we need a whole spice, not a spice rack, but a spice room, perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps while you're making the hull stronger, you could find some kind of enchantment so that it can survive the strain of crossing dimensions.
Dimensional
Hey,
boat.
I like that idea.
Is there maybe some way we can make the boat invisible?
You all are really, really going to be stretching my imagination with all of these requests, but I will do my best. Make it invisible.
Well,
I mean, if we're gonna
just a request. I mean, could you make it fly?
That's what I was gonna say. Can it ride the air?
That be if it would fly through the air like a birdie?
Right, just rides the clouds instead of the water.
Turns into a blimp.
Oh my god, we're going to have a blimp.
And then have it go underwater as well.
The
Submerged.
submarine.
Make it a submersible. Okay. I think you have given me more than enough to work with here, so I thank you very much. This has been a wonderful thought experiment on the excesses of imagination. Slams her book closed. Her notebook.
And then if the boat, since we have all this room, it's just bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
He says, well, yes, I look forward to trying to contribute in your adventure, in the ways that I can, safely. And before we all set off on the next part of our quest, not to be a so-called Debbie Downair, but I will miss you all very, very much, and there's no end to the depths of my appreciation for the new life you have given me without question and without second thought. You've brought me along for some of the most wonderful adventures of my life, and I know that it will not be our last. And I love you all to pieces. She starts crying a little.
Killian will
It's
just
going
like
to
give
be
her a
really
hug.
hard for me to say goodbye.
Killian will just give her a hug.
She demands a group hug. Everybody! Santa, come here!
Oh god.
Okay, that's enough. I have much work to do. I need to go and register for classes and my independent study with Auroras. So, shall we make haste?
Let us.
Killian just wants to kind of lean in and whisper something to Kittenberry. Where do I get more bullets for this thing?
Oh, well. I usually go to whatever armorer seems to think I'm cute, and I show him my miniature cannon, and I ask him very nicely. Sometimes if I have a bullet left over, I just show him that and ask him to make me a set of those. It may also behoove you to ask for whoever does that for you first to make a mold of the bullet, so that it's easier for them to cast more at one time, rather than having to start over each time you find a new blacksmith.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I find lead tends to be the best substance that they will use the most often, but I don't know, get creative, see what they'll do.
All right.
Okay. I think before you all leave for the day, the servant comes back with Killian's shield. They have the rest of it is nicely shined and buffed in. You can see where they've sort of almost soldered in liquid metal into the deeper gashes and grooves, so that some parts of it look even shinier and newer. You don't lose that sort of scratched and scarred, worn in feeling, but it is beautifully polished and smooth, shining silver now all across it. And the bottom point, it's all nice and dull around the parts that are, the most useful for blocking. But you do have this nice little slashing edge on the outside bottom point. So you can, from now on, we can adjust your shield to deal 1d4 slashing damage
All right.
if you use it as a weapon.
Cool. This thing can see 100 more battles. Perfect.
Before we head out, Seraphina will pull Kittenberry aside, and she'll kind of put her arm around her and tell her, "It's been so wonderful spending time with you and seeing you take your own path. We'll really miss you, and we look forward to seeing all of the really great improvements you'll make to our ship."
Yes, I will do my absolute best, Miss Seraphina. I must admit, it has been so wonderful to have a girlfriend who appreciates the finer things in life for these last few months. And I will miss you so very, very much. And I hope that one of your other friends knows how to sew as well as I do, so that your dresses don't start to look a little less than perfect.
Oh, thank you so much. Before we head out, I wanted to give you something. I've been trying to find my own way, just as you have. And I think I'm ready to find my own path. And so she'll take her little hairpin, the blonde hairpin, and she'll clip it on to Kittensberry fur. And her whole
as you're taking off and she sees what you're doing, she takes off her hat of disguise, goes back to her normal coloring, her normal orange and white, and then she goes full blonde.
Looks so
She's
good
this
on you.
Beautiful ashy blonde yellow cat now. She's just do you know, I think I like this better than all the ones I have come up with before. Thank you so much, Seraphina. Now I will be the blonde in the minaret, as there always should be.
It looks perfect on you. And Seraphina will kind of like touch
She
her
says-
roots that are coming through.
She says, "Let that grow out. I think it suits you."
Oh, thank you. I hope so.
I know so. I know another group who suits you too. And she looks over at all your friends sitting, talking over Killian's new shield.
Yeah, Seraphina will look over everyone and say, "I think so too."
Much to do, yes?
And I could stab someone with it, and I could block with it.
I think Bula is like thinly slicing meat along the edge, like, oh yeah, that's not. Okay. Was there anything else we're waiting for? Not really. Okay. You all head to Luminara?
Mhm.
All right. Do you need to stop by your dad's office to say goodbye, Seraphina? Or are you
Yeah,
just gonna
so I think I'll step by if he's still at work.
Yeah, I think he showed up early. You find him in his office with a couple of his faculty, one or two of whom look like they've just been released from prison, the mage break. And he appears to be like sort of reacquainting them, re-onboarding them, making sure that they're okay and ready to get back to work as soon as possible or needing the time off that they need. And you walk in and see him talking over 3 or 4 employees, and he immediately just says, "I'm sorry, gentlemen, I must adjourn with my daughter quite quickly. I will be right back," and he pulls you into his like back office.
So yeah, I think we're heading out soon.
As much as it breaks my heart to see you go, darling, I'm glad that we had you for the time we have, and I know that you'll be back in one piece soon.
Always. Yeah, thanks for all of your support. It's been surprising.
Just kind of like, yep. We love you very much, darling. He doesn't really have words, but he pulls you in for a very, very tight hug and kisses the top of your head for a long moment. He pulls back and looks at your hair and kind of tilts his head and says, "You know, I always liked you better with the dark hair. Reminds me of when you were a little girl."
Oh, thank you. I think I'll have to get used to it.
You've got plenty of time for that. Now, write to us. Let us know where you are and that you're alive semi-regularly. Promise?
I do. I promise.
All right, kiddo. Come here, and he gives you one more big hug.
All right, Dad. That's enough. And Seraphina will be like, "Toodles. All right to you."
Gives you a big old dad wave. Big chunky tear comes out. Alright, you rejoin your group.
While on the way, Maraway would have told the group that he has something he needs to do real quick and that he'll meet them there. I would imagine Bulu would probably go with him. But I think before he goes, he wants to visit Zareth's grave. And just leave one of the orange flowers, one of the orange calendula flowers. And just kind of have a moment at the grave, kind of reflecting on his own strength or lack thereof at the moment, and kind of let this be a sobering moment for him that if he doesn't learn the things he needs to do, that it could be one of his friends that he buries next. Before heading back to the group.
Okay. You meet up with the group, who are walking across Luminara, heading toward Mellow Oak's office, after Seraphina has said bye to her father. You walk into Mellow Oak's office in his large classroom that's sort of adjacent to it. You see this large tree end sitting very much in the same spot he was before. He seems to be a man who doesn't really uproot himself much from his desk, so to speak. Slowly looks up as you all walk in. It's like early enough in the morning. There's not like students around very much. There's not really students in this classroom yet. He says, "Oh, I hear that you all managed to save the whole city in the short time you've been here. What a fast adventure. What is next, dear pupils?"
Well, we were thinking of taking you up on your offer of teleportation to the Eastern Continent. Save on travel time, if the offer still stands.
Excellent, yes. You wish to teleport rather than sail, that makes sense and is fair. I will escort you to the teleportation circles and debrief you on instructions as we walk. He very, very slowly, plants his big tree hands on the desk to sort of, lift himself up, and as he stands, his leafy head just, bends as it hits the ceiling, and he has to, slowly lumber and duck under beams, and, he's, trying not to step on you all. He's so big as he, goes to, lead you out of the room. And he starts leading you through the hallways down towards sort of a faculty office block. And he says, once you reach Ferrisrash, you are going to want to find Ilmandel Lanthanar. He's a local wood elf, and he's our primary contact for organizing expeditions into the Undying Wood. He, as he's walking, he, produces a leaflet of paper from his satchel and starts writing instructions, writing a letter, that he titles for Ilmandel. He says, "This is my personal recommendation that you be the leads on the next expedition into the wood. Make sure you give him this, and he will know that he can charge Luminara for their trekking and surveying services." He's writing this down so that you guys can have Luminara foot the bill of having them take you into the woods as this expedition. He says, "You'll very likely have a group of the most recent expedition, which ended early according to my most recent correspondence with Ferrisrash." And, he says, "Be sure to find whoever survived and ask them for their first-hand account of what you're walking into when you enter the wood." He says, "Do you have any question about what you're going to accomplish there? Or what you need?"
None that I can think of. We're kind of going on a quest of discovery ourselves, so the questions will arrive once we find out what they are. But you've been more than helpful. We are indebted to you, truly.
Well, that debt will be paid with the information you bring back if you all survive. Any of you who do survive, I do hope to hear from so that you can tell us of your discoveries and investigations of the scientific nature.
Professor, while we are there, we are tasked with protecting any members of the expedition outside of ourselves.
Yes, I do not know if there remain any Luminara dignitaries there, or investigators or researchers, but if there are, they will likely join your expedition, with you as their sort of muscle and protectors. There are often others who contract in to join expeditions, whether they be equally muscle-bound or more of the intelligent variety is to be seen. He just lumbers along and leads you all to this big sort of down a half set of stairs, open sort of courtroom style room. and in it you can see a bunch of different sort of like fenced off circles, and you can see the sort of arcane etching of teleportation circles on the floor waiting to be activated. He leads you over to one of them and says, I can go ahead and activate this one for you. Once you are ready, you can all step into the circle and it will put you directly into the fort at Varus Rash. And he hands you off that piece of paper he wrote, all folded and just sort of folded shut. Says, be sure to hand this to Ilmendel so he doesn't try to charge you. He's a savvy businessman, to say the least.
Much appreciated, Professor. As far as I know, we're all ready to do this. We're still sure we want to.
Yeah, you first.
Indeed. And Eidos will step into the circle.
Alright.
Marway's
says,
skipping into the circle. I think we're ready for some teleportation, some travel.
Yeah,
Hello.
he kind of gestures for you all. He very slowly gestures and sort of like nudges you with a big brand. This is sort of a one-time deal. We all need to go at once.
Yeah, let's go.
Seraphina reluctantly gets scooped in.
And his branch fingers, like he slowly bends over to the floor and sort of his fingers like grow into all these like longer twigs and vines that sort of go and touch different points on the little teleportation circle around the edge, and he starts chanting an incantation, and the circle slowly starts to glow brighter and brighter and brighter until finally you all feel your stomachs like on a drop ride. Your stomachs all just go whoosh out from in your stomach, and you all feel that you're just dropping through space just for a split second before you all crash onto your asses on the floor of another teleportation in like a dark wood room, like all log walls, quite like not very well lit. There's a couple like really high like window slits in this. It appears to be a room that is just this teleportation circle. And with that, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. So meet us here at about 20 till the hour, 9:40-ish, give or take. We'll be back soon. Don't miss it. Enjoy those ads.
Ads.
Welcome back, kids and adults and old folks and everybody. Thanks for hanging out and watching all those sweet, sweet ads. So tasty. Okay. When we left off, this group was just magically teleported all the way east. Not all the way east, but to the eastern continent. To the city of Varus Rash, which resides in the kingdom of Wawasite. Wawasite, the things you might know about it already. It is sort of a kingdom divided. Half of it is peaceful, wonderful, druidic woodland, maintained by the king, this druid king, and his druid court. The other half, the half where you sort of sit right on the border in Varus Rash, is made up of the undying wood of Wawasite. A mysterious curse is said to be over this land. And as you sort of step out of this teleportation room and into the open air sort of stockyard of this large, dark wood fort, you can see through the various gates and openings that facing west is the undying wood of Wawasite. It's pretty unmistakable because you can see the tree line to your east of the just regular old forest. Lush and green this time of year. It's quite humid, it's quite wet, it's warm. Very, very verdant forest to that side, but the undying wood that you can see through the gates to your east, you're looking down upon it. This fort is built right on the edge of a lower cliff at this point. The cliff sort of rises north of this fort, along this sort of like large cliff face that sort of bisects this part of the continent. So you're looking down at the undying wood, and while mist covers most of what you would be able to see, you see the tops of trees. However, these aren't trees like the ones you see to your east. They're all bare, as if it's the dead of winter, as if they just haven't been growing. They don't necessarily look blackened or dead, these trees that you can just see the tops of over the mist and the fog. They just look like they haven't grown leaves, or that they are sort of in hibernation for winter. And all of this being said, knowing that you're walking into land, and this fort being one of the sort of last fortresses keeping it from taking over more of the continent, you feel drawn to it already. You step out, and it's like being in Seraphina's tea room. It's lovely. It's fresh. There's a wind blowing in, and it's like ocean saltwater and floral scents coming up off of this undying wood. It has a weird beauty. Even the mist itself, like you can see that this forest has some like lush greenness to it, this undying wood, just in like the reflection of light on the mist that comes all around the trees beneath this cliff face. And if you look hard enough, you certainly do see, miles and miles in, acres in, just the tops, the like pointed spiring tops of a single dark tower rising out of the undying wood and the mist covering it. And this fort, it is not bustling with people, but it's a busy fort. It's a thriving community. You can see it's not just, what we would picture as a small courtyard fort. It is massive. It's like 3 different sets of walls with all these different outbuildings built into it, and between the walls, lots of different turrets and guard walks that people can walk up and down. While it is all made of this like very petrified dark wood, it is sturdy and it looks to be quite old, but well maintained by the people. And it's a busy, if thriving community. And you have a chance to sort of take a look around.
Guys, this place is kind of creepy. I love this journey for us.
Yeah, it's time for spooky parts or something. I don't know.
It's not spooky. It just needs a little bit of love.
That needs a little bit of love. So point towards the very spooky forest with the spooky towers out of it.
Yes. I mean, they're just trees around the tower.
Well, from the stories we've heard, I think they're just trees. We need to be frosty while we're in here. But maybe we can go and try to find this Elendar, was it? Is that who's Ilmandel?
Armando Lanthamar?
Armando.
Armando.
Hey, you.
Yeah. I mean, we got to figure out where we're going, when we're going, and all that other good stuff, and then we can plan around it, right? I don't know if the expedition's leaving soon. What was it, like 2 weeks or something that last time we were talking with them? I don't remember.
A good question to ask him when he said, "Do you have any questions?" As well as where this guy is. But maybe there's a gate around the forest, and we can speak to some forest guard or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that they would know if people from the Luminara are here.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And when in doubt, to the bar. All the information we need is there.
To the bar, always. That's where all the information is and all the drinks.
Should we just go to the bar?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Forget what I said. We're going to the bar.
I think Gula would be completely okay with going to the bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'd say, that was a long journey. I'm hungry. We've come a long way.
It was really long, the journey, but like the distance, like the time that we spent journeying was very short. So
I meant long like distance, obviously.
Obviously.
Okay, so rather than trying to find Ilmandel, you guys set off to try and find a pub.
Yeah.
Maybe he's in the pub.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have no idea.
We weren't really given a whole lot of lead on where he would be.
No, we didn't really ask a lot of questions on that one.
Yeah, whose
Uh.
whose job was it to get that information?
Definitely Killian's.
That's
Come on.
That's probably right.
Jeez.
Can't believe you, Killian. And able to start walking toward.
You guys went to school
People.
there. You know him personally.
Starting to feel bad for always picking on Killian, but it's so fun.
I hate this. Why did I
Okay.
You're
even
the
come?
dad of the group. You have to take care of things.
Yep.
Okay, I think you guys take a swing around like the big open stockyard of the fort. It's a working fort, so you're not going to find anything within the fort walls. So you make the 15-minute walk, literally 15 minutes, to get out of the fort itself and into sort of surrounding town. And it's a town that like is just big enough to house the people who are working the fort. There doesn't appear to be any kind of like really established just civilian settlement here. It's just a working fort with its surrounding housing. But that being said, where there's working people, there's places to drink. So you are able to find where someone has converted like half of their little like hut house kind of place into a functional bar. They sell whatever liquor they manage to buy off of passing ships or bring in from other cities in the area. So yeah, you are certainly able to find what could constitute a bar here. And you walk in and it's small. Obviously, there's people who, lots of people who are dressed in like druidic garb, ranger garb. It's not like the people working here are specifically military or guard members. They just appear to be like locals who work to protect their community and do what they need to get done to keep things running here. So it's a very working class situation, but it has a nice like friendly small. That being said, people give you weird looks as you walk in, even for a very like varied crowd of races and ancestries. You guys are a sight, especially with your clothing and attire and accoutrement, all that stuff. Immediately draws the eye and makes the room get a little quieter before it perks back up when people decide that you guys are just going to sit and not necessarily walk in and cause trouble. So that being said, what kind of trouble would you like to cause?
I think as soon as we walk in and everyone's watching us, Maro is gonna like bump Zada and be like, "Look, we're celebrities."
Yep, that's definitely what we are.
Killian will go up to the whoever's manning the bar.
Okay. You see there's a couple different people, like, and there's not like a physical bar so much as like a kitchen island where people are pouring drinks, pulling kegs out from underneath, that kind of thing. One of the people who appears to be like quote unquote like working, selling alcohol here, is a very like very intricately braided with like feathers and beads in her braids, Furbolg woman. Furbolg girl, for lack of a better word, somewhere between a young woman and a girl. Like maybe if she were comparable to like human age, she would be like in her early 20s. Just serving drinks and talking to people. She has like this big boisterous laugh, and she just looks like, of the two serving, the other looks like just like a human man. Basic, you know, he's a guy. She looks to be the most like friendly and outgoing, and she's the one that people are like cheersing and telling stories to, and she's actively, you know, engaging with people. So she'll kind of notice you all walking over looking thirsty. She says, hello? How are you all today? How do you end up finding yourselves here?
Hello, well, my name is Killian, and we're actually going to be part of the Luminara expedition.
Ah, more Luminar folk. That makes sense. Y'all well, come on in, have a seat somewhere if you can find one, and I'll pour you a grog here, and pulls out a barrel and starts to pour you all some drinks from the tap.
What's the name of this bar?
It ain't got a name. We're not big enough for a name, honey. What we do have is this is me and my brother's home. My brother Benji and I. This is just kind of where we stay when we're in the area. So You could call it Nomi's place, or Benji's place, or Nomi and Benji's place, or the place. Everybody would know where you were talking about. I'm Nomi. Nice to meet y'all. I assume you all have names?
No. Just kidding.
Yeah. That is Sada, and I am Eidos. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. As
Alright. Mr. No, Mr. Eidos, good to meet you.
You may call this one Motorway, and your braids are really pretty.
Darling, your braids are really pretty. I like your hair. You are
Aw.
something else, aren't you? You ever thought about doing those braids down on those furry little legs you got down there?
Oh, do you think I could?
I think we could figure it out if we did some small enough braids, yeah. I think we should do it sometime.
My goodness. I love this place already.
This place is gonna love you. We could always use some color in here.
So, Nomi, we did get a little bit turned around. We're actually looking to connect with Ilmendil. You know that name?
Ilmendil. Yeah, honey, that's my boss. When I'm not here serving drinks, I work for him. I guess since you guys are from Luminar, you're here for the next expedition?
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you in a hurry? You need to finish those drinks, and I can take you over to his place.
I mean, we could stay here for like 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You know, take your time, get yourself prepared for whatever you need. We can just grab some drinks and relax.
Oh, honey, we're not setting off tonight. Don't worry about it. Finish your drink. We can take a second to go with us, and we'll just talk to Ilmander tonight just to introduce. But yeah, let's have a drink first and get to know each other. So, where are y'all from?
I'm from here.
From here,
Eastern
from Wawasite.
Well, the Eastern Continent.
No one's really from Wawasite anyway. So, like, what do you talk? Well, like Hargush, you from up north? You're one of the tribes, aren't you?
Yes.
What are you? The Purple Tail, the
Red Mains.
Red Veins. Well, very nice. Nice to meet you. Glad to see you back home. Everybody else, I assume you're not of the Leonin variety. Where are you all?
Well, that's Killian. He's a protectorate.
Hello.
That guy's a drow. He's my drow friend. This is...
Glad you
This
have
is
one
Seven-
drow friend.
Oh yeah, you always have to have one drow friend.
what is that?
That's how we know you're not racist against drow.
Right. And
that why-
this
Is that why I'm here?
you're a column for diversity.
You're what they call the token drow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How unpleasant.
This is
I'm
Seraphina.
kidding. Look at me. I'm the only furball in this building. Besides my brother.
Seraphina will hold out her hand and say, I'm Seraphina, and this is Glitterbell. We're both Geminis, and I'm from Nurdistand.
Seraphina and Glitterbell, the Geminis from Nurdistand. I gotta tell you, I don't know what a Gemini is, but it sounds pretty. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure's all mine.
I'm Motorway, and I'm from Sanctuary, but that's like really far away. Probably never heard of it.
Sanctuary. I can't say I have, but it sure sounds nice. Kind of reminds me of being right here. This is sort of my sanctuary, so I'm glad that you are from
It
one.
used to be lovely.
Oh. I mean, this place used to be lovely according to local lore, but... Cheers to places that change, huh?
Yes.
Absolutely. In my non-alcoholic goblet.
Yes. She says, well, are y'all students, research associates? What? How did you end up from Luminara to here? If you're from all over the place.
Hey,
We are
what
here.
a favor you could
You know
say.
what? Why are we here, Eidos? Like, what is?
We're here conducting research on Professor Mello of Luminar's behalf. Strictly a discovery mission.
Researchers, all right. Very cool. Well, you came to the right place. Me and my brother help with all the expeditions, and she like looks over Killian and Zada and Bula and everybody else's various weaponry and magic staffs and focuses, all these different things. She says, so I'm assuming if Mellow Oaks sent you that maybe you're his answer to us requesting a little bit more muscle and a little bit less brain, huh?
But we
I'm not
come with-
saying I'm sorry. I just put my foot in my mouth. I'm not saying you're all stupid or anything. Gosh, no. I just think that, you all look like you can handle yourselves, and we've been asking for more of that because we keep losing more folks, and we just can't keep doing that.
When you say you keep losing more folks, how are these people being lost?
Ugh, honey, I think it'd probably be better if my boss kind of went over the specifics with you, but, I'm sure Mellow Oak told you that the woods are pretty much cursed, and you probably kind of feel it right now, right? Like, something about the air here is just kind of nice and lovely.
It's strangely pleasant. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And it's not, like, aesthetically pleasing or anything. It's just kind of feels good to be here. Well, it doesn't feel good to leave here. So when I say we lose people, they sort of just wander away. I don't know. I'll let my boss explain. I don't want to scare you all off before we get into the details of the contract. But you all look like you've been through the ringer a time or two. So she kind of like looks at Killian's scar and like assesses you all pretty astutely. So yeah, just know me and my brother are good at our jobs. We don't lose people on purpose for sure, but it takes a particular kind of team to make it in and out together. Some people just aren't quite cut out for what the woods offers.
Yeah, we've been through hell and back.
You could say that.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetically, I'm sure.
Oh yes, of course. It's just a turn of phrase.
Naturally. Well, and she like finishes a drink.
Understanding what are you meaning to say that we haven't been to hell?
Trying to be better.
Yes, we have been to hell, Morrow, in a manner of speaking.
I thought I was just misunderstanding your words again.
No.
She says those language barriers. Well, why don't we pour a round of drinks to go, and I can take you over to Ilmater. I keep calling him Ilmater. Ilmandell's, and he can kind of give you all the rundown of what the job will look like.
Sounds wonderful to me.
Refills everybody's drinks and like slams a big ol' Furbolg hand on the bar a couple times to get her fellow bartend's attention. Says, "Hey, I gotta run these guys over to the tree house. I'll be right back." And leads you all out of the room. Cheers in a couple people as she passes, a couple locals. And she leads you away from the fort toward the edge of the cliff, where you see there's this like large like maple tree that appears to have grown as the cliff like sort of eroded away. And so the tree is now leaning at like a 45 out over this like 40-foot cliff face. And in this big old tree that's like hanging on by the roots, there is a big old house also built at a 45 up in the tree branches, built into the tree that is leaning out over with like an excellent unobstructed view of the whole undying wood.
Oh, are we above the dying wood right now, looking down upon?
You are, yeah. You guys are up on top of the cliff. The dying wood lays out beneath the cliff. The cliff is sort of like a natural barrier that the wood butts up against below. So you all can see this awesome view as she leads you up. Like they've like carved stairs into the trunk of this tree, so she just leads you up the stairs into this tree house. That is sort of just an office space. It looks like it appears to be like apartments upstairs of some sort. But the first floor, by all accounts, is big tables and chairs. There is like a small bar built in one corner, a little like stove kind of gas oven in another corner. Some different like maps and big like diagrams up on the wall. You can see like research notes scattered here and there. There's like glass cases with like samples lining up along one of the walls. And you see in the middle of the room, you see what looks to be like a male wood elf, like middle-aged for an elf, sitting at a table having a drink with another Furbolg, less intricately braided, but still like has like some twists done in his Furbolg hair, and also young. He has a lot of the same features. Like him and his sister have the same sort of nose color. His fur is a little bit more like sandy than hers is, while hers is a little bit more of like a dishwater dirty blonde. And he's very handsome. He's lean, fur bulk, very tall, very like happy, smiling, laughing eyes. And him and the elf are sort of just bent over a map, sort of talking about something casually. As the elf turns to you guys as you all walk in with Nomi, and she says, Ilmendel, I got the next recruits for you here, and well, they have some questions about the nature of the wood that I think you could answer for them. He greets you all. Come in, come, sit. I have answers for you. You are here from Luminara?
We are.
She sits down on a bench, gestures for you all to sit down at this like long sort of dining table, all bench seating, so it's pretty close, pretty snugged in, and the Furbolg boy moves like further down the bench to give you all some room. And just kind of sits quietly with his drink and watches, nods at his twin sister. Elmendel says, right, well, tell me what you got. What sort of skills, what sort of research are we doing? What's your prerogative for being here?
We're basically on a discovery mission on behalf of Professor Mello to just general information gathering so we can report back findings. Just the nature of the woods, perhaps a little more about the tower itself, what lies within. We're not sure how far along in your research you've gotten. We were hoping maybe you could catch us up to speed so we know what we're facing here and what we need to find out.
Any information he wanted about Dion T, I believe, is also what he wanted.
Well, I can't say we've had researchers specifically digging into that line of questioning, but happy for any researchers who join us on our trips. And do you have a note of conscription from Mellow Oak?
Yeah, Killian has it.
Take it out of my fanny pack, or just there you go.
Takes it and he doesn't even unfold it. He just hands it off to the male Furbolg, who does open it up and reads it and puts on like a little pair of glasses. He'll read it closely and then gives his boss a nod. And Ominder says, right, well, that being said, it looks like you all are, it appears, according to him, quite capable of defending yourselves. We have sort of we want to change things up how we do business here. Typically, we think power in numbers, right? We want to keep the group together, and that will keep us strong and get us home safely, but it appears not to be working as well as we'd hoped. So, with the numbers that we are finding for this expedition, with you all here, I think we can put our new plan to the test. And he sort of looks at Benji and Nomi, and he says, I think it would, behoove us, perhaps, to separate the group into a forward group and a latter group. The forward group consisting of you all and good Benji here, and you all can sort of guide the way and be the muscle to clear the path, and then some of the less martially inclined searchers can follow behind with Nomi. I feel this could be a better way than losing half the group at once. I don't know, it's a thought. Anyway, the way we do things here at my place of business, we are just sort of your contracted guides, and it's your all's job to get in there and figure out what you can and get as far as you can and bring back what samples you can, whatever your prerogative is. It's just our job to try and bring you in and out alive. Part of that being, we have a bit of a readiness questionnaire we have to run through before we can contract you in. And he gestures to Benji, who goes over and pulls out of a drawer a stack of papers. And I'm going to ask you all to go ahead and open up this questionnaire from the Discord chat that I'm about to drop in there. He says, you see, we need to do a bit of a test of your mental and emotional fortitude before we can deem you safe enough to travel into the Undying Wood. It is an absolute necessity. If you cannot pass this questionnaire, then I'm afraid we will not be able to accompany you into the Undying Wood, and you will be traveling of your own accord. So that being said, he hands you each a piece of paper, and he asks you to start looking through it and start thinking of your answers. Questions, kind of go around and ask you all for your answers. And we're just going to do snippets of that conversation, because he's going to have you each do this whole thing. But how does Eidos answer Section 2, Question 8? Can you recount a time that you resisted temptation, even though it felt like everything you wanted? What helped you say no?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked. I can recount a time I resisted temptation. After all, restraining oneself is important. And what helps me say no is just keeping that in mind, keeping in mind my father's teachings, and just a general sense of duty. So, yes, I have resisted temptation.
All right, excellent. The one they call Marway. How do you answer Section 3, Question 11? If ordered to bind, sedate, or restrain a fellow explorer showing signs of forest love, could you do it?
Well, I have before done a lot of whole Rosata right here. I don't think that would really be a problem.
Good answer. You notice Nomi and Benji are both very intently listening, while Ilmander is just kind of he's half here. He's just doing the clerical job. He's done this 1,000 times, it seems. Zata, how do you answer Section 2, Question 5? What is something you absolutely believe about yourself that no one could take away?
I believe in myself that I'm a great warrior, and I will fight to the end.
All right. Miss Seraphina, how do you answer Section 1, Question 2? Do you feel a persistent desire to belong, to be loved, or to find something more in life?
My goodness, yes. I feel like I belong everywhere.
A vague and very politically charged answer. I like it. All right. Gillian, how do you answer Section 3, Question 9? How do you respond when someone you trust begins acting irrationally or against your safety?
Well, the first thing that's most important is to make sure everyone is protected and safe from that person. Whether it is incapacitating them or binding them so that they won't do any harm to others. I've seen times where people have been turned against allies, whether it be from magical effects or poisons or various other incantations. So just making sure that everyone is safe and protected is of the utmost importance.
And he keeps going through all these different questions with each of you. Some of them easier to answer than others. Seraphina probably struggles when he gets around to asking you if you've experienced the loss of a loved one, or a breakup, or emotional trauma recently. I think Bula has trouble answering, have you hallucinated or experienced reality distortion in magical or non-magical zones? Some questions are easier to answer than others. I think some you have to fib a little to make it work, to make it fit with the narrative here. But all things said, you get through these questionnaires, and anybody who completes this questionnaire and writes me some answers as a character before the next session will get inspiration next session. Just so you know. Little homework. Little personality quiz in character. Okay. You all do get through the questionnaire, though, and it appears as Ilmandel kind of looks at Benji and Nomi, and they both sort of give him subtle nods of approval. He says, well, all right, it seems that you all have the emotional fortitude to perhaps make it out of the Undying Wood alive. That being said, let's get down to the brass tacks of it all. we need the wayfinding party. That will be you all with Benji to follow the cairn stone stacks that he has used to mark the path laid out on previous expeditions. Once you reach the end of that marked path, you'll be sort of wayfinding in the wilderness, so to speak, uncharted territory. It would behoove us to be able to map that in some way. The standing stones are one good way of doing it, or the stone stacks are one way of doing it, but whatever you must do to make sure that someone can follow on the trail after you, what can be done. Our good Nomi here will be a day behind with any of the other research in the expedition, and she has a trusty little pet that will communicate with you if they need support or if they are turning around to return here. So, if you have questions about your role in all of this, you're welcome to leave with whatever information or samples you manage to bring back, though I do warn you, things act a bit differently after they've been in the Undying Wood than they were when they went in.
How so?
There are many theories. A few think that there's a witch in that tower that you might have spotted from that magnificent view we've got. They think she's the one casting the spell on the wood, and that she's sort of just charming her way through the population bit by bit. Others believe that the gods have punished the forces of the uninvited ones who took their last stand here in the Dionic Wars. There's lots of theories, but regardless, what it actually looks like, we call it forest sickness, or the love spell, or whatever you want to call it. It's hard to be drawn away, especially if you don't have strong connections outside of the... They just sort of fill up a place in your heart that you didn't know was empty. People just wander off when you're not looking. So it's important to keep an eye on each other.
And what's the furthest
So
that...
they fall in love with the forest?
For lack of a better phrase, yes.
Arway immediately pulls out his notebook about love and is like completely writing with like huge question marks, like falling in love with forests. I guess it's an option.
What's the furthest the expeditions have ventured into the forest?
Well, I believe he looks at Benji, and Benji says, 22 stones. And, Commander nods and says, yes, that's just over 6 days in.
When these people afflicted with forest love wander off, do they just simply disappear, or do you find them later, their bodies maybe?
We have never recovered anyone who disappeared in the forest. As of yet. Perhaps you'll all find them.
And
I like to say it's just the next expedition that will make the trail.
And is it strictly, I suppose, magical influence that resides in the forest, or are there other foul creatures and the like that are in there?
He defers to Benji sitting further down the bench, and Benji sort of like leans his elbows on the table and he says, well, there's not really animals or beasts, so to speak. It's weirdly quiet. There's nothing to hunt. There's no game. There's no birds. There's plenty of vegetation. It doesn't seem to change much. Even on that longest trek, I only managed to bring back 2 out of the 16 people who set out, and we didn't see a single other sign of life besides ourselves. Vegetation. That whole trip.
And you said you're traveling with large parties before and came up with 2. How many did you go out with?
Like I said, that longest trek, we had 16. The biggest party I've ever taken out was probably 6 years ago. We took, I don't know, what was it, Nomi? Like 45 people? She says like 43, maybe? Says, yeah, and back then, with that amount of people, we were back more, but it took a whole lot more effort, work, and we just didn't ever make it that far with that many people before we had to turn back to keep people from wandering away. He says, I hope you all have close familial ties or someone you love back home. That seems to help people find their way back out.
So, how long has that tower been there?
I mean, long as anyone alive right now remembers. We don't, I mean, the mentions of it in texts and adventure journals say it was there since the Dionic Wars. Maybe before, but we don't have a lot of writing from, obviously, for clear reasons. Winder says, yes, the tower has been as constant as the cliffs of Varus Rash and the trees themselves.
Just a question, just because I am curious. Like, have you guys like tried flying over to the tower? Like, what happens? I'm assuming like something happened, or else you guys would just be flying over there right now.
And we've sent Griffin Riders in. We've had Alphamilliars and Shape Changers fly over. You don't see nothing but the mist and the top of the tower, and you can't land on the tower. And as soon as they do attempt a landing further in the forest, we don't see them again. So a flyover is one thing, but you get the same view as you get from here, just closer up.
What does it make it so you can't land on the tower? Is it just because like?
Oh, it's got all these crazy stacks on top.
Okay, yeah.
Super sharp. Wouldn't be fun. Nowhere to sit.
Right. Have you tried like, I don't know, dropping an explosive on it or something?
Benji laughs at this. There's an idea. There's an idea. I think I like you all. Elmendel says,
I think
well, we haven't actually considered destroying the potential witch tower or trying to attack it with explosives. That doesn't seem like it would be good for the community to start that sort of antagonistic relationship with any denizens of the wood.
Just curious. I mean, you don't know if they're there or anything. Like maybe destroying it could stop the mist or something. I don't know. I'm just seeing it. You know, if you did try it, if anything happened, and if you can't land on the tower, I'm just trying to get some ideas.
It's an idea.
Have you tried like starting to fly when you're inside the area? Like, does it like same thing? You just kind of just disappear if you just go off too far, kind of a thing.
They just, I mean, Elmander says, well, I've certainly never tried it. Benji says, yeah, like once you leave the group, we don't see you again. I don't know what becomes of them. Their story's there to tell. Theirs to tell.
Right, got it. Okay. Just curious. Have you guys like tried to deforest it? Like, just like burn down the trees or like cut it down to like try to push it back? Kind of a thing?
cut down the trees.
Well,
That's a curse.
This one understands King Simond, would not, well, one of his predecessors anyway, did at one point attempt to push back the woods by force, by fire and by cutting, and, well, it's hard to describe. I think you'll find that the forest is, well, undying is the word that they use, and it's the most apt word here. You can injure the trees, you can fell them, and they remain. They do not rot. They just become a blanket of wood on the ground. And more eventually grow in their place. It pushes back.
Can I would like to kind of brush Bula and like slip my hand into the bag. And I want to try to like with my eyes communicate to her, make a quick distraction, like a loud distraction.
You want her to make a loud distraction, or you're gonna make a loud distraction?
I need her to do it.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I'm gonna make you roll for it, or if you and Bula would just understand. I think you just understand each other. You're like, all right. And what would Bula do? WWBD. I think she'll just like stand up really fast and like slide this giant wood table so that it makes like that horrible like noise across the floor and say, you know what? I don't like doing business on an empty stomach. Let's get some food in here. And she starts like going over the stove and like clanging around a bunch of pans and stuff. And Elmander and everybody are just like, oh, okay, we'll have some food. We'll have lunch. It's all right. Let's do that.
As soon as
Everybody
the
starts
noise
moving around.
starts, because I needed a verbal component to cast Bless.
Okay.
on myself and Bula and Serafina.
Yeah, like while everybody like he gets up, Nomi gets up and Benji gets up and they're all like talking like, what do you want? It's just like, well, I want this and that. You're able to quietly whisper under your breath to do that bless. Under the
And
noise
then I
that
want
they're
to
all making.
message Serafina.
Okay. What do you say?
And Marway is gonna say, Serafina, I think that Benji boy is casting some kind of magic on us.
Okay, so Seraphina's gonna try to see if she can perceive if Benji is casting a spell.
Okay, are you doing like a detect magic or are you just like watching, looking, checking for spell components?
I do have detect magic. Yes.
Okay. You are welcome to cast it.
You said
Okay,
like in
yes.
the office here, there's like display cases and things like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so for detect go ahead.
No, you finish up.
So for detect magic, you sense the presence of magical effects within 30 feet of yourself.
Okay. You cast the spell, and within that 30 feet, an entire just like haze of enchantment magic just like permeates the room. Just it's almost like a little magical mist just floating around.
Okay, but I can't sense that it's from Benji or a particular person. It's just in the room generally.
It doesn't look like as you like do just like a verbal look around. It doesn't look like concentrate on anybody. No one appears to be like actively casting verbally or using any kind of gestural components. You can't see that any like with detect magic you would be able to tell if someone was actively casting a spell. It doesn't know what's happening. Besides the fact that Marway has this little bit of like message magic happening to talk to you.
Okay, I will send that message to Marway through message.
I think as Bula's getting them all like up to go like do food and whatnot, I'm just gonna grab Serafina and kind of try to pull her to the side. But I think Marway like trips over the bench just a little bit as he's trying to get up.
Be careful.
Pull her to the side. Listen, I don't know what it is, but whenever he was speaking, feel, and then he's gonna put her hand like up to his chest. Do you feel it? My heart, it does the pa-thump really fast, and I've got the goosebumps, and my eyes, and they're like dilated just a little bit.
Oh my goodness. And you think it's Benji?
Only happens whenever he was talking.
Oh man. Okay. Let me see if I can get to the bottom of this.
I knew you were the one to come to for this.
Can I tell from looking at Benji if he's doing anything different or just yeah, can I perceive if he's using a spell actively?
Roll insight.
Five.
He has just finished throwing some like root vegetables and like diced up beef into a stew pot, and Bula is like still like checking, like glancing over at Marway to see if she should continue being a distraction. And Benji is just like in a bit of a panic trying to make her a good meal because she's demanding good food from him. It doesn't appear that he is casting a spell actively.
Is one of my things like the human trait where I can
Yeah,
roll
if you want to,
that?
if you want to re-roll the D20
Yeah.
with
Can I try
your
one more time?
inspiration.
Alright, nice.
Specifically, I cast Bless in case I need to make any saving throws. I could +4
Okay.
to whatever this is.
It's even worse.
I rolled a 1 for 2.
You take a second look, And you're like, I don't even think he can do magic. Even though he's actively casting a spell to light the fire underneath the soup. You're like, no, I don't buy it.
I'll say that tomorrow. I'll be like, I think he's pretending to cast magic. I don't even think he knows how.
I just rolled a nat 20 for Bula's insight.
Ooh.
Nice.
You're welcome, Robin. Bula eventually rolls her eyes at them all, who are finally she is satisfied with her soup, and she comes and gets between you two, and she says, "Now, if I ain't never seen a crush like this happen so fast." She nudges Mara away and then goes and sits down on the bench. And, shakes her head.
Did she just say someone is being crushed? Do we need to help
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, you have what they call the Twitter petted.
I don't know what that word is.
That's okay.
And Ilmendel finally comes wiping his hands off on a towel and throws it off to the side. Well, now that lunch is being prepared, I'm so sorry for not offering to feed you me. Anyway, where were we? And he starts sort of going into a little bit more detail about the Undying Wood and what they've seen so far. You get the impression that his business is really just these two furbolgs leading people into the woods, and benefits from financially. He explains that in Verisrash, people can't live here full time. At most, they can live here part of the year, and they have to be very mentally and emotionally attached to somewhere else in order to not be drawn into the Undying Wood. Even him and Benji will leave for parts of the year and travel around, get supplies, advertise the business, all these different things. But it would appear that this haze of sort of charm magic that Seraphina just clocked, this enchantment magic that fills the room, it's everywhere. If any of you run any more detect magic, it's just it's like the mist on the woods. It's just permeating the air around here, and it does make everybody very pleasant and friendly and happy and loving. But it's a little unsettling because you can feel exactly why people are drawn in, especially after being here for a while.
Kind of cozy in here, huh?
I don't like it. It's kind of like a
It's
weird
very
drug,
warm.
and I kind of hate it. But I like it, but I hate it.
Benji says,
God,
you get used to it eventually. It really starts to kind of lose its shine after you've been in there a time or two. So I think you'll be all right. You'll get used to it fast enough.
So when do we take off on this next expedition?
Ilmendel says, well, we could leave as with you on the wayfinding party. You could all leave as tomorrow morning. Scholars to follow up the following day. If that works for you all, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, less time, so less of us could go. I don't know, get the wanderlust. That sounds good. Also, I have a question. Since we're here on the Eastern Continent, do you guys have a way to get in contact with the Redmane tribe by chance, a messenger or something, or a way to get them a message?
Well, sure, we have messengers all over Verisrash. Yes, would you prefer them to carry a written missive or?
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's written or verbal. Just want to let my the Redmanes know where they are, where we can find them. I'm pretty sure I know where they're going to be, but it's always good to just double check and then just let them know that the Dathos. Just a few of my parents let them know where I'm at. Zagra. Just let them know I'm here.
He nods to me. Take that down, darling, and run it to the post so that they can send a messenger out as soon as possible. It's a bit of a trek from here, but we will get your message delivered. Good Sata.
Oh yeah. Could you also say if they could remember anything they know about the Daonic War or anything about the Yuan-Ti that might be in our traditions? That would be great. Just so they can have a heads up try to figure it out.
Sure. Excellent. All right.
Do
Well-
you maybe have a place for Glitterbell and I to get some beauty sleep for tonight? Not that we need it, of course. And she's like petting Glitterbell.
Well, unfortunately, we don't really keep extra indoor accommodations. It's a pretty bare bones situation here, but we will be camping mostly from now on. So you are welcome to sleep here in the dining room, or I assume you all brought tents and hiking gear and the appropriate
Yeah.
necessities for outdoor excursion. You look surprised, Lady Seraphina. Is there something
You have
concerning
your yurt. Don't worry, Seraphina. You have your yurt.
Ah, stay in the yurt. What is a yurt?
It's just like a really nice tent. Yeah, you can come by and have some tea later. I'll show you.
Ah, tea in the yurt. Well, you are bringing some class and sophistication to Verisrash, my dear. Excellent. It's what we like to see.
Jacqueline, you should really start working on that yurt. It's going to take you a couple of hours.
Do I have to set it up inside? Therefore, just sleep on the floor for tonight, please.
Can you set up the bed? Think about Glitterbell.
I've seen Glitterbell sleep on the floor, and she looked rather comfortable the entire time.
I feel like Glitterbell hisses at you, Killian. Okay. Elmander says, well, it would probably behoove you all to speak to the expeditioners from the last trek. The survivors are very likely camped out just inside the fort. They, are under close watch until they take the next ship out so that they don't wander back toward the wood. But they might be able to give you some more information about what they've seen.
You say they're inside the forest, so should we talk to them
In the
tomorrow?
fort. Sorry,
In
that
the
was
fort.
the
Okay.
fort.
Yeah, probably a good idea to talk and learn about their experiences. But I just happened to notice these things that are in this display case here. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you guys or what the expedition had picked up along the way?
Ah, no me, I defer to you. And Naomi says, yeah, come on over. And she shows you some of the items in these display cases. It's various like vines, little plants in like self-sustaining little ecological globe. Some different like not petrified wood, but just wood that seems to be like sustained alive, even though it is it's been in this display case a while. You can see it's like collected dust on the case itself. So all these different like bits of plants and foliage. Like beautiful lichens and moss that they've like brought a whole rock in with it carrying, and everything is still like very much alive and verdant and green and lovely, fresh. And she's just sort of explaining where they found each one and why they brought it back. She says like, listen, it's weird, it's creepy. Like, smell this, and she like opens the lid of one and sort of like wafts the air toward you. You get like lilies and chrysanthemums, these like floral scents. There's no flowers in any of these. None of these appear to be like a flowering plant, or if they are, they don't have active flowers growing. But everything's got this like lovely floral green scent to it.
Marley, weird question. I know you can talk to animals. Can you like talk to plants?
I don't think I can.
Now you say that when you were speaking with Zada that any attempt to fell these trees or any of these plants and things they just get replaced rather quickly by other trees and things of that nature.
Yeah, near overnight. Although the stuff that they're replaced with is much like younger, and it doesn't seem to like grow very big, so we can cut it back, and I'm sure given enough time we could fell the whole wood, but we're all frankly quite afraid of what doing so would unleash.
Has anyone tried to bring plants or maybe samples of the trees here, maybe like back to Luminara as an example for study?
Sure, plenty of people have. They find that the samples they bring, whether they're pulled from the land or anything like that, they just keep on keeping on. They don't age or wither or die or dry out, or can't overwater them, you can't underwater them. They just sort of maintain.
Has anyone ever tried to, and Killian will just kind of look around the room. Has anyone tried to like create like objects, like furniture or anything like, or homes with this kind of wood?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't think it would be very useful. It feels like it'd be quite like damp and not very watertight. But I don't know if anybody specifically has tried that. I could ask around, but no one really. We don't, like I said, we don't try and source stuff from the woods more than we have to. It's like playing dangerous game of chicken.
So whatever magic permeates these the trees, the plants, that seemingly carries with it wherever it goes.
Yeah, I guess so. I've never left. I mean, I've left Ferris Ranch obviously a bunch of times, not even from here, but yeah, the things that grow here seem to stay under the curse's power somehow.
Interesting. Well, I guess probably not a bad idea to go speak with those other expeditioners. I'm quite curious to learn what they encountered out there.
Be our guest. You're looking for Brother Sorith and Dr. Thendrick. They're a gnome and a dwarf, respectively. Oh, and here. And she digs in her bag and pulls out a little leather-bound journal. She says, so last expedition, and unfortunately we lost 2 of our 4 expeditioners. This was one of their journals, and hands it over. She says, I don't know if that'll help you. We were gonna just put it on the next ship back to Luminara for them to send her next to kin, but maybe it'll tell you something before we have to do that. I didn't really find anything more useful than what I already know, but you might dig a little deeper.
Yeah, Killian will take that and he'll say, do you happen to have an empty journal that we could use to catalog our notes with?
Sure. Can I just put it in your pack for tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Excellent. She says, well, I gotta get back to the bar, Elmondale, so I'm gonna take these guys over to the fort, and I'm gonna get back to work. He says, bright and early tomorrow, dear, so we can send these on their way. She waves to her brother. He goes back to making the meal that you guys still have not eaten, but that they have spent all this time preparing. He's like, wait, Miss Bula, don't you want some of this?
She goes on to go. She always grabs it to go, you know. She's always like... She's a walk and eat kind of lady.
I feel like she probably goes over and takes the whole pot. I'll bring this back in the morning.
I think as we're like leaving the area, Morrowind just like kind of turns around us, goes bye, and then as he turns around, he like runs into the door frame.
He gives a little bye, Marway. See you tomorrow.
And
He
then he's
goes
gonna like
back to
scamper
getting-
really, really quickly out of the room.
Okay. Nomi side eyes you just a little bit. I think you don't clock it, but Seraphina probably does, and Bula probably does.
Even if he
and-
did, he would have no idea.
No clue what was happening. Nomi leads you all back to the fort and walks you over to where 2 small, like, worn-in tents are pitched side by side. Like, not well-pitched tents, just very temporary tents leaned up against a wall. And sitting outside both of them on these little, like, folding wooden chairs, you see a little gnome. Sorry, not a gnome. You see a human. I said gnome before. It's a human and a dwarf sitting there. They look a little worse for wear themselves, much like their tents. He says, if you don't mind, these 2 are a little bit strange, so I'm just going to leave you all here and head back to work. I don't really feel like spending any more time with them than I already have.
Spooky forest makes spooky people. Got it.
Yeah, you could say that. All right, I'll catch you all in the morning. Y'all have a good night. Let me know if you need. Come back if you need a drink before bed.
I will definitely do that.
She pulls her boots up over her knees and trudges away back toward her house.
Um,
And you're left with these two survivors.
Are they just kind of sitting down near a fire or something like that?
One of them is writing in a notebook, and like drawing little detailed drawings. And the other is reading what appears to be a book of some kind. You can't really tell from here. Small book.
Killian will walk up to the pair and says, hello, we heard that you two were part of the last expedition into the Undying Woods. We're going to be heading in there tomorrow. We were hoping that we'd be able to pick your brains about what you experienced while you were in there.
The human who's reading does not look up from the book, doesn't really acknowledge that you're speaking to them. But the dwarf looks up. And you can see now that you're up closer, he has like a patch on his like very worn canvas cloak. It has like a scythe and a sickle on it. It's like a universal sign for healers. And you can assume this is Dr. Kendrick. It says, yeah, we just got out 2 days back. It was something interesting. You're all heading in next?
Yes, we're planning on heading in there tomorrow.
Well, what do you need to know?
Well, I mean, any particular, I suppose, dangerous things that you encountered while you were in there? We've heard there's not much in terms of animals or beasts in there, but we have heard quite a bit of this alluring magic that seems to permeate the forest.
Yeah, it's there. And he kind of like side-eyes the human who's still reading his book. It says, yeah, that magic is definitely there. I feel all right myself right now. We'll see if that continues. But I was hoping to bring out some samples and supplies. I was supposed to fund some of my employers with some just new materials to experiment with, but I just couldn't really bring myself to do it. So I guess that's the magic, right?
It's like it prevented you from doing any kind of harm to the forest itself, whether it be, plucking some plants or digging at trees.
Yeah, I didn't really have the words for it before, but yes, that's exactly it. I didn't want to disturb the wood. It was so beautiful, like perfect, really. Taking it felt like a sin. What was that?
I mean, do people just have a natural urge to destroy forests? I mean, what you describe sounds like just how I feel every day.
I didn't really want to destroy anything. I wanted to be able to make use of some new, possibly life-saving magic and materials, and I just couldn't even bring myself to take a stone or take a leaf off a plant.
What did you ask?
But I've been a botanist my whole life. I don't know.
And we've been told that the furthest an expedition has gone in is about 6 days worth of travel, or 22 stone stacks, I believe. Is it quite easy to get lost in there, outside of the magic pulling people away?
I don't think so. Seemed like, the Wayfinders knew what they were doing. I mean, it's as easy to get lost in there as I think in any other kind of... If you know your way through a forest and you know your east and west and north and south, that all makes sense the whole time. To me, at least. And I'm certainly a novice Wayfinder. So it didn't seem like getting lost would be an issue, especially with the guides, to get us back.
Okay, I was just wondering if that mist that is currently just all throughout the forest would, make you lose your way or anything like that. But the directions stay true. There's no, tomfoolery about with the directions and magical influence.
It didn't seem it to me, but that's not to say that I was really paying that much attention. We had a path that we were following and never made it off the path, really. I don't know what would happen if we stepped away from the guides.
So there is a well-traveled path into the forest that is quite apparent to follow for the most part.
Yeah, as long as you stick to the stones and as far as they go. I don't know what'll happen at the end of those stones. Make it any further.
Hmm. Well, I assume the destination for any expedition going into there is to maybe reach that tower that's over there.
That wasn't necessarily ours, was it, brother? And, the human, just shrugs. It says, I'm sure the tower is as lovely as the rest of the wood. Vague non-answer.
Okay, but...
Dr. Fendrick said, he was real talkative when we went in. I don't know what's up with him right now. Sorry about him.
And, Killian wants to lean over and see if he can see the front of the book that he's reading.
He doesn't try and hide it. He just maintains holding it. You can get kind of under it and read it. It is a pretty basic, heavily printed, essentially a Bible, a religious text of Dionic religion, of all the Dionic gods, not specifically just Dion, but the Dionic pantheon of the invited gods, not the uninvited gods, but a very basic religious text that is one of the most well-known religious texts. And he's reading it pretty fervently, he knows it pretty well. He's kind of flipping around, reading a passage, flipping around, reading a passage, as you watch him.
And does he have any kind of symbols on him, any kind of religious symbols on him or anything like that?
Lots. Roll for me. You see some of the basic Dionic symbolism, like Dion's symbol herself, some of the other well-known gods, Ior. But go ahead and roll for me a religion check with advantage to see if you recognize one that might sort of spark a memory.
So that's gonna be a dirty religious 20.
A dirty religious 20, I love it. Okay. You would recognize one of the most prominent patches is for a group that is called the Inward Flame. They are sort of a sect of the Church of Aelia, who's Dion's wife. Dion has a wife and a husband, a religious symbology. Those are the best terms that people use for them, but Dion's wife, Aelia, her sort of main worshippers. Some of them are a little bit more militant than others. The Inward Flame is that group. This patch calls that out.
Okay. Would Killian know anything about what the mission of this the Inward Flame is?
You would know. They are very much, I'm trying to think of the word for it. Apostles? Where you try and spread your religion? What is the word for it?
Apostle? Or just,
Apostle.
What is the word? When you want other people to be a Christian. What is the word for that? I'm missing.
Is it a missionary?
Yeah, missionary.
Sort of. No, not quite.
Oh.
It's just where you want to convert people to your religion, basically. Evangelist, yes, thank you, evangelist. They are more evangelical, whereas a lot of people on Dion are, I'm going to worship my thing, you worship your thing. We have a whole pantheon of gods. It's okay to worship what you worship. The Inward Flame want to bring people in to the love of Dion and Aelia and Ior, and they will get into politics and military skirmishes, do so in certain places. Very much evangelistic. They believe that if everybody would just turn to Dion's beautiful holy light, that the world would be a better, safer place for everybody. That's kind of their whole shtick. They're not like the most fun to get along with, but they're not like, they're religious, so they have their code, their moral code.
Mm-hmm. But this specific gentleman is just very absorbed in the book right now.
Yeah, he seems to be looking for something in the book that he's not finding. He looks a little frustrated.
Kaelin will just kind of notice that, hopefully he notices at least that this person is thumbing through the book, without getting what they need. He says, are you looking for a specific passage in that book?
He, huffs and closes it pretty hard and throws it aside a little bit disrespectfully, frankly, to a religious text. Dr. Thendrick sort of, is taken aback by this. He says, well, I was sent here with a mission and have not accomplished it, and, trying to find anything in that damned book to send back to my superiors, who have recently excommunicated me. Thanks for asking. Love talking about it.
You're welcome.
Kaelin will go, he'll pick up the book and just kind of, dust it off. He'll hand it back to him. He says, well, I'm sure if you keep looking for answers, you'll eventually find it, but perhaps this place isn't where you'll find the answers. It seems as though this place has disturbed you a little bit.
Done the opposite, really. It's opened my eyes, I believe.
Oh, in what way?
Heresy. He starts flipping through, muttering to himself about heresy.
Heresy? In what way?
Slams the book closed again. You must know the forest refuses to die, and all things under Aelia have form and flesh, and anything with form and flesh is meant to die and renew new form and flesh. And I was sent here to stop the heresy of the wood, and perhaps turn the tide and allow the wood to die, finally. And yet, I don't want to! Goes right back into the book.
And did the Inward Flame have any other insights about the forest? Maybe in regards to what is keeping it alive?
Not a thing. That's why they send me. Clearly annoying.
I'll look over to the dwarf. And
Dwarf is like, something's not right. Kind of leans a little further away, scooches his chair down a bit. He's like, listen, that guy is still as annoying as he was before, but that's what it looks like when the woods start to get in your head a little bit.
So we can influence even the most devout of people.
Clearly. Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well. Anyway, listen, I wasn't able to do what I needed to get done. I'm gonna go to my wife and kids and kiss them on the head and be glad that I don't have to ever set foot on this continent again. So, my advice is to mind your P's and Q's in there, and remember it's just plants and air and I don't know. Keep your head about you.
We will. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Kind of
Kind of wish I had explosives that I got from Kittenberry before I left, or from there. I mean, it just feels like, good thing to have on hand.
Well, it's never a bad idea not to carry explosives around with you, I guess. Especially for
True.
you, who is one with fire so often.
Right, we definitely need to actually take some, because we could have used some in like the jailbreak. There's a few other times, like we could have blown up a boat. Actually, that would have been actually very useful too. Now that I think about it.
Well, write it down on the shopping list the next time we go into a town somewhere.
Right. I gotta make sure get explosives.
All right. Are you all gonna head off to bed after you're speaking to these two? I mean, it's still like early afternoon. It's not late. You guys set off early. You've spent a lot of the day talking to Benjicott and all of them. So you could still get some stuff done if you want to. Otherwise, you could turn in early. You know that you're supposed to be like taking off at first light, so you're gonna have an early morning.
I'm gonna go get a drink. Anybody else want to come with?
Always.
Perfect. Marway.
I think I'm going to stay out here and look at the stars.
All right. Have a good time. Don't worry too much about your new friend now.
I have a new friend and I don't even know about it?
You always have new friends.
That's very exciting.
In this little town, while they head off to the bar, Killian just wants to kind of take a look around. He wants to see if there's any, like, essentially what he wants is to get a kind of like a side holster for the pistol. So some kind of like leatherworking thing that he could find here.
Would you also like a hat? Go with that whip.
Maybe.
There's not like any sort of feasible like marketplace here. People will trade just as needed. If anybody will trade. What you can do, ask around and find a ranger, like a beast hunter who sells pelts and leathers and things like that, and does some leather working. They can help you make this thing that you want.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too complicated to make. You know, Killian's already got a whole bunch of weapons on him, basically. So this is just adding to the old stockpile of stuff he's got.
What you will need to do here, I think you go to like pay them for the leather that it costs and the little bit of labor that they're doing to help you make it. They say like gold and silver is not really useful here. Got anything you can barter with?
Anything you guys are in particular need of, or is it just kind of anything?
I mean, me myself, I'm always looking to make my food a little bit less, average. If you got anything tasty, I can add to my meals. Spices, oils, even just nicer cookware. I don't know, just general needs though. I mean, rations or different weapons would be cool.
Well, those I do have. Let me see here. Let me see here. Well, I do have, and he'll pull out, what do I want to give him? He's got like an old, like dagger and short sword that he has. Like he's kind of like, it's like what he started the adventure with, basically. And he says they're a little bit battle worn, but they will still cut and chop and protect you in a pinch if these are worth the trade.
That'll do it just for the weight of the metal alone, and I like the balance. All right, you got a deal. And he works with you to make a holster for your pistol, and he even kind of adds in like a little like pouch for like 5 or 6 individual bullets, so you don't have to have just like the box ready to go. You can pull out just a couple bullets at a time.
Nice.
From the holster itself with the same hand.
Yeah, so Keelan will just affix it onto the side, the opposite side of like where he draws his whip from.
I just realized Killian is now a horse riding man with a whip, an eye patch, and a pistol. We have made him a cowboy.
You know, sometimes the dream becomes a reality all on its
Howdy,
own.
partner.
He's just a one-eyed Indiana Jones at this point.
Pretty much.
Eventually, I will get a hat. Eventually.
There you go. It's nice. And you gotta always look at that hat no matter what happens. You need to reach for the hat.
I'm so excited. Okay. What a dream. Okay. Does any... I know Eidos heads back to Nomi's place. Sada, you head with him.
Yep.
Seraphina, what are you gonna do?
I think Seraphina is gonna spend some time with Glitterbell, so she'll probably find like a field and just play fetch with her and spend some time with her, because she didn't really get to see her that much while they were in Nurdistand.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you find plenty of space. There's lots of wide open spaces up here around the fort and in the fort. You could even like hang out outside Nomi's place in the yard. The party inside, now that it's like nighttime, evening, and people are starting to wind down, come in for food. It seems like the neighbors just sort of congregate around Nomi's place because that's where there's frequently drinks to be had and meals. And so the party is in the yard, in the house. People are just, and by party I mean like a cookout. It's relaxed. People are sitting and eating and hanging out around. And you're able to find a nice spot to play with Glitterbell and teach her some tricks. She's happy to see you. She's a little rowdy after the last couple weeks of being cooped up inside.
She's got the zoomies.
Who's got the zoomies back? She's like a cat chasing a laser pointer. All right, I know. Marway, you find a place to look up at the stars. And then Killian, after you do your shopping, do you head to the bar or do you head somewhere else?
Killian's not going to go to the bar. He's just going to he'll look around the camp, just kind of observe people's general demeanor, maybe see if he can pick out people that maybe have been here longer, see if they're acting differently or anything like that. You know, seeing the dwarf and the preacher gentleman there, seeing how even the most devout people can be influenced by this place. You know, he's a little concerned about himself and if he's going to be able to kind of maintain his own identity, sanity in this place.
Yeah, good call. Go ahead and roll insight, please.
All right. This is 11.
11, okay. I mean, people here are like so cheerful. I mean, like, you've been in really magnificent, beautiful cities. You've been to Santapelle, which is literally a toe where people should be the most relaxed and calm, and people did not look half as happy there as they like kind of muddy, very like old campground-esque space. It is a place of very simple living and simple people who look to be quite friendly with each other. Big sense of community here, like being an Oasis follower, like you can feel it permeating here, that sense of community. It may not really be a natural sense of community, but it appears to be positive, at least for the people. I think with that role, you aren't necessarily able to figure out who has been here longer than others just by watching them. So they all appear just like pretty contented and happy. But you do notice people aren't like alone here ever. You don't see anybody hanging out by themselves. People are constantly walking in groups of 2 or 3, never alone. Even just like moving from neighbor's house or from the fort to their little home, all those different little trips. No one's ever really alone here.
In walking around, does Killian eventually see Seraphina out playing with Glitterbell somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious where Glitterbell in the massive suit, now the now bigger dragon, is playing like a cat with zoomies.
How big
and Seraphina's
is Glitterbell
large
now?
pink dress really stands out.
Melanie, how big is Seraphina? Or sorry, how big is Glitterbell at this point?
Do you want to answer that, or do you want me to?
No, you let me know.
She's like the size of like a Saint Bernard.
Oh,
Oh, okay, that's pretty large.
It's getting bigger, yeah.
It's a big litter.
Is that like 80 pounds?
More.
She's grown
that's-
fast.
yeah.
I like to think whenever you have her up on you, you've got her like
Yeah.
You got some.
This doggo right here is 105, so
yeah. She still thinks she's a lap dog. though, for sure.
Yeah, of course. As all
She's
small
no-
dog. Yeah, as all dogs do.
Virgo
Yeah.
has no sense of her size. She's constantly trying to climb onto everybody's lap. She sees Killian and just like, boom, tackles you to the ground.
Ah, get off me, Glitterbell. Killer would just get up and go over to Seraphina. It's like, this place is peculiar, is a way to say it.
Really? I'm kind of liking this place. It's spooky.
I mean, I'm all for, friendship and camaraderie, but I don't know. I feel like this place is kind of forcing it onto people in a way. Or maybe I'm just looking too much into it. I don't know.
You think it's because everybody's so familial and just hanging out with each other all the time? Is that what it is?
No, it's just, this place isn't exactly sunshine and rainbows here. There's a giant dying forest over there, but everyone seems to be happy. Just a
They're
little...
just trying to find the light in a dark place.
I guess so. And, I just wanted to come and check in on you. It's been a couple of stressful and interesting days as going on in Nurdistan. I was just wondering how you're holding up.
Not too well, honestly. It's been really hard.
Have
Those questions were pretty hard too.
Yeah, I was kind of a little stumbling over myself trying to answer some of them, to be honest. But,
Which ones were hardest for you?
oh, well, hold on. Let me think about it for a second here. Let's see. Well, I suppose questions that kind of targeted our views of reality. I would be quite hard pressed to active and injure one of my friends if anything were to happen to them. I hope to be able to find a way to maybe dispel the magic effect or subdue them non-lethally, but we have some pretty strong combatants in our group, Zada and Bula especially. I wouldn't want to get in the way of them if they were confused or even worse, enthralled in some way.
Oh, don't worry. I'll just tie him up nice and cozy.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm glad that we got you behind us. Rope at the ready. Sir, man, I want to ask, is this Zareth? It's kind of the elephant in the room. Is that the first time you've ever lost someone?
Yeah. It's been hard. But I try to stay strong, just like my mom does. I think she always tries to put on a brave face.
Yeah, and do you feel like you need to emulate what your mother does?
I think that's what makes me feel most comfortable.
Is putting on that brave face, and we're not denying it or anything like that, right? Not in denial about it?
I think sometimes it's easier to process our pain alone.
I understand. And, I've lost many people in my life as well, many brothers in the Protectorate, and of course my family as well, and my mother especially. That was a wound that's never really healed, to be honest. So I can understand what it's like to lose someone.
Yeah, I feel like my loss doesn't even compare to yours. I'm so sorry to hear about it. And how do you even manage to live with that?
Well, when you have grief in your life, it's like a hole. And it's a hole that can't ever really be filled, but over time, the hole does shrink a little bit, and it shrinks enough so that you won't fall into it every time that you take a step. So I just want you to know that things will get easier with time, but it's never anything that you can truly forget. So if you need to talk, I'm here to listen.
Yeah, I think when I'm ready, you'll definitely be the one I reach out to.
Good. Well, I'll leave you to play with Glitterbell there. She looks quite happy to be out in the fields and not trapped up in your bedroom.
Yeah, I think she's a little mad at me for keeping her cooped up in there for so long.
Did she tear apart the room?
Well, you know how animals can get, so.
Yes, I recall the time that Glitterbell and Darkdown were trapped together in a room one time, and they traumatized the guardsmen and destroyed the room. So I was hopefully your parents aren't stumbling into a massacre of down pillows and things of that nature at your house.
She's grown since then, as you can see. Such a cute little girl.
We're gonna flash sideways to Nurdistand to the minaret, where the maids are in one of Seraphina's like guest rooms, and the whole room is just like shredded fluff, just like a teddy bear exploded. And Glitterbell is just sitting on the floor, her tail flicking like a cat.
Yeah, she's grown out of it. She's much better now.
Yeah, it's she feels like she's gotten quite large over. Maybe it's just because we're like together a lot, but it feels like she's grown quite a bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to feed her soon. We better go hunting or something.
Gonna start eating as much as Bula will. So it's gonna be quite an expensive party we're gonna be with here.
They'll be good friends.
But I think we might have to teach a little bit of obedience to Glitterbell here. She knocked the wind out of me just by jumping on me.
What do you mean? She's so cute. She's so good.
I'm not saying she's not cute, but she's
so good.
She nearly trampled me. She's not a little dragon anymore. She's gotten quite big.
No, she's just excited to see you. Plus, you can handle it, right?
I mean, I can, but who knows who's next on her excited jump? Imagine if she jumped onto poor Eidos. It would crush it.
Oh man.
I mean, like
probably suffocate him.
And Maraway, could you imagine? He's almost as big as Maraway already. Just some food for thought. That's all. Just food for thought.
I think she'll be fine. She's been so good. She hasn't caused any trouble this whole time.
Well, I will let you two get back to playing. I'll go find the others.
Yeah, she just needs to be tuckered out is all.
And Killian will head on out and go find the rest of the people.
All right. What does Eidos and Zada drinking in Nomi's place look like as he walks in and finds you?
Well,
And probably Bula with you.
Right. Well, I would think Bula would be with Maraway if he's staying out to watch the stars.
Maraway, do you think you would have asked her to hang out with you, or do you think you would have asked her for a private moment?
I think I would have sent her with the gang to drink, because I know that's what she wants to do. And I don't really want to be a burden onto her right now.
Probably in that case, might be gathered around a fire or table outside the bar. Just to
Right. just set up our own little campfire. Like, where we're gonna
Yeah.
probably sleep too. Just...
Yeah. Just enjoy drinks while Bula has a line of sight on Marway.
Okay. I need each of you two, and I will roll for Bula. Please roll a wisdom saving throw.
If it's been within an hour, Bula also still is blessed.
Ooh.
That's a nat 20.
Oh shit.
Can handle my drinks.
Yeah, definitely.
I got a very dirty 20.
And
Filthy.
Bula got a 10, even with that bless.
Oof.
Zada and Ados, you're able to maintain like a level of normalcy. You do find your minds wandering to familiar faces, enjoyable visages in your imagination, but you're always able to like bring yourself back to reality. Bula is just like in a constant state of like blush. And she keeps like accidentally saying like, yeah, it's kind of like that one time I severed my leg. I mean, I cut my leg. Constantly like blushing and accidentally saying things related to dragon and sever. Third. Can't seem to stop. And eventually she's just like, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm going to bed. Good night. She just leaves with
Good night, Bula. Try not to sever your pillow.
Don't you? You're on my list. She walks away.
I'm happy for you.
Killian, that's where you find your friends. Bula storming off. Like, all 50 shades of green. And these two laughing at her.
Well, I don't usually see Bula stomping off. That's this early when there's drinks to be had. What did you guys say to her?
That's what she did to herself. We didn't do nothing. We were just witnesses to the downfall that was Bula.
Why? What was she doing? Just
Oh, she said something about, you know, severing a leg and then loving dragons, and then she's like, do you think Severs is thinking about me right now? Kind of like those things, you know.
and she brought
I
that
cannot
up
wait for
herself.
Robin to watch this.
He was forthcoming with this information. That doesn't seem like
It's
Bula.
probably this place. I find myself tending to think about, you know, things I haven't really thought about in a long time. So probably just the work of this place, kind of just getting to us.
What are you?
Okay,
thinking
definitely
about?
getting to her.
Yeah, what have you been thinking about?
Me?
Well, yeah, you said
Oh.
you're thinking about things that you don't
Yeah,
normally do.
Yeah, my family, people in my pride, stuff like that. I don't usually think on them time to time, but I'm thinking them more often than I'm not.
Well, we are
So,
pretty close to them, right? Although, at least, well, somewhere on the eastern continent, at the very least.
everybody that other than you guys, all I care about is here, yes, on the eastern continent. And that could be part of it, and when you're supposed to be focusing on a mission, you focus on the mission. You don't think about the people that you're supposed to be thinking. That's a distraction. It's not something you usually do. So I'm starting to see a little bit more of that recently, with the sense being here. But, you know, it's whatever.
Okay, well, you can take tonight to focus on other things besides the mission, I suppose, and then tomorrow we're right back at it.
After the mission, I get to go see my family. That's all I care about. So as long as I focus on here, enjoy a few drinks with friends, possibly die tomorrow, as we usually do, it's all good.
And, Anos, what about you? Any fond memories on your mind or anything like that?
Well, I can't help it. Can't stave them off. I think the effects of this place are getting even to me, but yeah, just remembering a couple people back home. That's all.
Anyone special?
I think in this moment, Ados remembers the last time you all were hanging out around a bonfire, and a certain minor woman that you owe a letter to.
Yeah, Jade definitely comes to mind, but he doesn't want to put those feelings out on display. Oh, just a couple of friends.
Good
Well,
times.
Cheers to friends and family.
Cheers.
Friends and family. Now that I am thinking about it, if I do, happen to die or get swallowed up by the forest, and you guys are here on the Eastern Continent, do you mind just stopping by and saying hi to my family for me? And tell them I'm sorry. That's all.
Oh, sure.
Thanks.
What's that?
That won't be
Anytime.
awkward at all.
Yeah.
Is there any do you want us to? Do you want to leave us with like a memento or something like that to give to anyone in your tribe?
Sure. Let me kind of look through his pack, and he'll just like kind of take off his holy symbol and just kind of toss it to you. He's like, "There, give that to my mom. She gave it to me. She'll know what it says."
But you don't want to keep this?
No, I don't need it.
What? He's very confused. What? What do you mean you don't need it?
I don't need it.
Have you given up on your devotion to Ere?
Giving up is kind of a relative term. Not just seeing very eye to eye currently, right, with her.
I don't feel comfortable holding this, but and not because religiously, I just feel bad that you're going through this I guess life-changing event currently. Rethinking on your faith.
Alright. Whatever. It's just another challenge. Another thing that has
Maybe it is this place that is causing people to lose faith. Oh, gosh,
it might be a little bit of that.
Oh, I'm worried a little bit about myself, I guess. Now, jeez, you're the second person in a brief span of 20 minutes that has given up on their faith.
I wouldn't say I've given up on it. I'm just kind of rocky point. We're not seeing eye to eye, just problems. But yeah, if you see my mom, just give it to her. Tell her I'm sorry. I didn't mean to run away. I didn't mean to just not tell anybody I was leaving. Just those kind of things, if you don't mind.
This is a lot for me to tell your mother.
Yeah, you'll have to probably also talk to my dad too. So that's kind of the thing.
Oh.
Meet the whole
Okay,
family.
I'm going to hold on to this in the hopes that I do not have to do those things, and I will give this back to you once we are done with this expedition here.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking of the worst case scenario kind of a thing. Just in case. We did see somebody literally just die that we didn't think was going to die, and now we're here. We're told people just disappear for no apparent reason. So just keeping my options open. Also, speaking of which, I'll just go to Enos and just let's see what else he would have. He'll just probably pull out a small charm, one of his earrings, and be like, in case something happens to either of us, you can give this to my family, right?
Certainly, I have your back.
Perfect.
And in the same vein, I have a couple of letters in my inside breast pocket. If you could deliver those, if anything should happen to me.
Of course, got you. It's kind of nice that you two you have Seraphina to kind of keep you grounded while you're here because you've known her, and then Marway has Bula. Killian and I are friends.
Couple of
That
bros.
was the most painful friends I've ever heard.
I think we're all here to support each other. We're all now family.
And if I were to perish in this forest, I tasked the two of you with venturing into the abyss to find my family.
That's a big ask.
Just a little thing.
You know what? I'll quest for you that. Yeah. Is there any message I should give to them, or is just freeing them enough for you from the hells?
The message that you would give them is that I failed, but I died as a loyal member of the Protectorate.
Unless you lose all your faith right now, we're literally everybody is doing.
Exactly. If
If
that happens, then just say I failed, and that's it.
Short and sweet. Got it.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right. And you all spend your night in your various states of weird euphoric joy and giddiness. Like the moments before a big date, you're nervous about this journey you're gonna make into the Undying Wood tomorrow. Marway looking up at the stars. You find a lot of the same constellations you saw on the Western continent, or the Middle continent. Some that, you know, shine a little brighter here than they did back where you came from, and you ponder life, and your melancholy is lifted a little bit here, but not quite as much as you'd like it to be. And eventually you all find your way to various states of bed, whether that be a yurt built in a dining room or laying out in the grass under the stars on a nice balmy night. And that's where we're gonna call it for tonight. So thanks y'all for playing. Thank you all on Twitch for watching. We love you all. Stay safe, stay salty. Do all the things. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.